Hey, welcome to the channel today. In this series, we're going to talk about my good friend and mentor, Moe Norman. So there's no better feeling knowing that when you wake up in the morning to go play golf, so that you're going to play well. There's no better feeling of hitting good golf shots down the fairway. So my mission today is to help as many people as possible wake up every day feeling good that they're going to go out there and play great because of the single plane swing. So those of you new to the channel, you understand that we talk about Moe Norman and the single plane, but a lot of people don't know kind of what got me involved in meeting Moe and the single plane swing and why I teach what I teach and why I only teach the single plane swing. But I thought I would discuss with you just Moe Norman and the uniqueness of what I was seeing and why my life at that point had led to trying to look for an easier way to play golf. So really what happened to me is back in 1991, I was a pretty good player. I played in college, I played on the Asian Tour. And when I returned from the Asian Tour in 1991, I started looking for answers. And maybe some of you out there are looking for the same thing. You're trying to figure out, golf's a hard game, right? And so you're trying to figure out, is there an easier way for me to swing? Well, you're looking for a tip. You're trying to figure out, is there some secrets to the golf swing? Well, I was in that same mode because I was a good player. I played in Asia, I came back, and I started looking for an instructor that could take me to the next level. And I ended up in Dallas, Texas with Hank Haney. And Hank, the great thing about Hank was he was focused on swing plane. And I think all good golf swings have to deal with swing plane. Now let's talk about swing plane, and that's really, in my evolution of understanding Moe, swing plane was what got me to Moe Norman, because here's what was happening. And if you look at a conventional swing, and if you take a down the line angle, this exact angle on a conventional swing, I'm not very good at demonstrating this, but I'm going to kind of walk you through it. What you see is the conventional golfer is taught this. He's taught to set up in the athletic position, hang the arms below the shoulders. And so this is considered a natural position to set up. Now, hang the arms down, and then grab the club. And what you see happening, and this is, by the way, this is what I had done for most of my life. You see two planes. You see the arms hanging down, and then the club sitting out in front. Now, here's what you have to look at, and this is what was so intriguing to me, is if I swing the golf club from this position, what ends up, at impact, I end up where the shaft is higher, the arms have lifted, and my body has also lifted. So my question is this: I'm starting the club differently than I impact. There's a shaft plane change. Now, I spent years dealing with that with these instructors I was working with. They never addressed that issue. It was always just a normal thing. And if you've taken lessons before, that's what you've done. You just stand there and hung the arms down. And look, there was days I could hit it pretty good, play pretty good, and there was days that I didn't play well. My problem was I lacked a lot of consistency, and I just didn't hit it good day in, day out. And I thought, God, how can it be this freaking hard? Why can't the golf swing be easier? And that was kind of the first question I had in my head. However, then I saw Moe. Now, a friend of mine brings me a videotape. This is 1993. He meets Moe in Canada. He watches Moe hit balls. He comes back, and this is a very good friend of mine. He goes, "This guy's incredible. He's the most incredible ball striker I've ever seen." He even called him a freak. He's so good at hitting a golf ball. Well, then I watched this tape, and here's what I see. I see the club is higher. He's reaching out with his arms. But what's more important is that when he took it back and comes down, so he takes it back and he comes down, the club returns to the exact same plane it starts. See the club plane here? He started it there, took it back, and impacted on the exact same plane. Now, that was what intrigued me, because he wasn't changing the plane of the club. That's why we call it the single plane. Now, you may think, well, I don't know, Todd, you know, good ball strikers play in the club. Right, they do. All good ball strikers have to hit the plane. Well, let's discuss that for a second, because this plane of the golf club is predetermined, right? Here's the club head, and here's the plane of the shaft. This club is saying, look, I'm designed to be hit on that angle. Well, if I can take this club on its angle and then not deviate its angle, wouldn't that be easier than having to deviate the angle at some point? And the answer is yes. This is what Moe figured out. He figured out, well, the easiest way to do what everybody's trying to do is plane a golf club. Everybody's trying to swing this club, whether it's the 5-iron plane, the 6-iron plane, the driver plane. Everybody's trying to swing the club the way it's designed. So the question becomes this, and this is what I was asking. Is there an easier way to get this club to impact? It seems like a pretty common sense question, right? Because if you're out there and you want to hit a golf ball better, the question you have to ask yourself is, what's the easiest way to get the club to impact? And the answer becomes how you start. So I want to kind of walk you through, and I'm not trying to convince you to swing like Moe on a single plane. I'm not trying to convince you of that. I'm just laying out the case here. I'm just laying out the case. You make the decision whether it's right for you or not. I'm just laying the case out that doesn't it make sense to start the club on the same plane as impact? Okay, that's the case I'm making, rather than have it on some other plane where you have to end up lifting your body. And this is where it gets into simplifying it. So I'm watching Moe start and impact on the same plane, and I start practicing that. This is 1993. From 1993 to 1994, I did not know Moe. I was practicing his golf swing, what I saw on video. And what I immediately figured out was that because now that I'm starting the club on the same plane as impact, I now have fixed a spatial problem. Let me explain that. When you have your arms hanging straight down, now follow me on this, I'm not going to get super technical on this, but when I have my arms hanging straight down, and this is the normal conventional swing position, I'm swinging mass around my body. Well, the mass is pulling away, right? So the mass is going to pull away. So there's almost a pound here of club mass, and it's pulling away from my arms. Well, so my arms are going to pull away from my body. That's why a conventional golfer will end up higher at impact. So the club's pulling away from my body. The only thing I can do is move my body away from the ball to make space for this club, because this 2 angle is going to turn into 1, right? So somehow I got to compensate for the spatial problem. Does that make sense? So there's a number of things you see happening. One, if I'm going to make up for this space, so take a look at Marco Mira. His feet come off the ground. Laura Davies, I used to use her as an example because her feet come off the ground. Some people rotate and lift their body. So their shoulders rotate and go high. Some people just stand up. Both feet come up. Ricky Fowler, both feet come off the ground. Whatever the case is, if you have a spatial problem, this two planes, this angle, you've got to do something. Spin, lift your feet, lift your shoulders, body has to lift, something has to lift in order to make space. Well, there's a variable, right? That's the first variable, is now I got to make up for this spatial problem. Well, Moe figured it out because he basically created the space and actually could maintain that same space. So that's why he looks so simple from here and down. He just basically has the same space from here, down, and then through. That's what I saw. I saw a single plane. Now, what's happening throughout the rest of the motion? Well, let's just go through the plane real quick, because now, and this was my first interaction when then I met Moe in 1994, and I saw him in person hitting golf balls, and here he was. And I got to tell you, watching him hit golf balls, it was, I played with a lot of great players. I played in the Asian Tour, I played in college, I played with a lot of really, really good players. But I'd never seen anybody hit the ball as cleanly, same trajectory, same flight, same shot pattern, which was dead straight. All those things were occurring. Why? And this is what got me, because he was consistently getting to impact the same way every time. Now, that's the goal. That's the answer to ball striking, is how can I get to the same impact position over and over and over again? Well, here's what you see different in Moe's motion. And this is what people recognize. They see, we always compare things to the conventional golf world. We're like, oh, look at Rory McIlroy. Now, Moe is different than that. I want you to look at Moe differently. I want you to look at him as a biomechanical model that's built to get to impact the most consistent way possible. So here's what you see now. You no longer see a lifting of the body, you see the feet on the ground because he no longer needs the space, right? If you don't need the space, now the feet can stay down. So you see Moe's feet, they stay down through the ball. And that's why the club can go here, return to the same space, and his feet stay down because he doesn't have to lift the body anymore. Now, there's the first thing I want you to understand from today is the goal of you becoming a better ball striker, just like it was for me when I met Moe, was how do I get to impact the most consistent way possible? If I can do that, because when you see Moe, and when I saw him in person hitting golf balls, the thing about it was how was he producing the same shot pattern every single time? How was he doing that? Well, that means that impact was occurring in the exact same way every single time, right? That's how you do it. You can't have one where you come in high, one you come in low, one you lift the club because it's deviating the plane in the face angle of the club. Well, Moe is consistently getting the same exact impact position. That's the goal for you, and that's what this series is going to be about, is all those elements that Moe did in his swing to get impact consistent, which I call a perfect impact. If you look at my book, it's called the perfect impact position. But how do you simplify the swing, starting at address to get to impact on a single plane? Hey, we're going to go through this, talk about all the elements, discuss what Moe talked to me about in this series. Hope you enjoyed the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Click that bell icon. I'll see you in the next video.